Hello my brothers and sisters in nerdiness, welcome back to the Spider's Web, and in this video we're painting this Middle Eastern building. We've primed it with grey primer, and we've also gone over a little bit with the Whole Foods red primer, but I ran out of that, so we don't have that to show you because I put the can, or disposed of the can, after I ran out. So first off, we're going to be starting off spraying the inside floors of the building, and we'll be using Middlestone, and that's a nice sandy colour. I do quite like it, but it's what I use quite a bit for these kind of buildings, and we'll do all the floors with this colour. And I'm not trying to get a good coverage with this because I'll be going over with other colours as well. I just want to make sure that all the grey is taken off. I'm not bothered if it looks a little bit patchy at this point. It's going to look different. It's going to look, yeah, there's going to be more paint going on, so it is going to look different by the time we finish. But as I say, I'm not too fussed about coverage here. I'm just making sure that all the grey is gone. And then a bit you'll see that the camera angle will start to change as I realise that what I'm trying to do you're not going to be able to see. And as you can also see, the beard is blue. It's not that colour anymore, but never mind. This was a couple of weeks ago when I did this. In fact, it wasn't a couple of weeks ago. I actually painted this last week, and I'm only just getting around to doing the narration for it. Oh well, never mind. There we go. We changed angles just to see if that's any better. You'll find out in a bit that it isn't. But, yeah. So I'll do the inside of that building, and here we're just putting squiggles on it. I'm not really too fussed about getting all the grey filled in there. Same with the top roof. Anything outside of the building I'm not really too fussed about doing as good a coverage. This is where I realised I made a mistake. Instead of using the sand and glue technique that I used for the walls, I used a little bit of the texture paste that I had to go around the edges, and I totally ignored the fact that I needed to put the lid on, as it were. So I put it all the way around instead of leaving that bit off. So I'm just scraping it all off now with a knife. I did start using what you call it, an emery board, but that didn't do much for it, so I'm scraping it off now with the blade from a snap off knife, craft knife. So that's all we're doing here, is just getting it back down to bare wood. Now we are going to be painting over it, so I'm not really too fussed about it being perfect, just as long as we can get the lid on and off easier. I keep calling it a lid, it's the upper story, but you know what I mean. So once we've got this bit sorted out, we can then get back to painting. And one of these days I'm going to concentrate and think about what I'm doing rather than just getting carried away and doing it. Okay, so we decided that that's perfectly fine, and now it's just a case of getting some more. In fact, what I'm doing here is just brushing out the dust from the inside of the building and just topping up now with a little bit more paint. And there we are. And now we can do the walls. And again, not good coverage. We want some of that grey to show through here. I want some of the red to show through as well. We're also going to be going over with more colours. If you've seen these videos before, you know the kind of thing I'm doing with this. And you also see that the I've got the top floor on as well, so we can get all of this matched up. So we're not going to be having a very odd pattern towards the edges. I'm trying to go everywhere with this on every wall, even the tops of the walls, as you can see there. And again, not being too fussed about it. As you might be able to see, there's some weird textures on the walls themselves. You can see they're just at the top left of the window, and that's where I added some of the texture paste as well, so it's a slightly different texture to it than there is on the normal sand and PVA areas. And here, as you can see, I'm just doing some little lines here and there just to give some level of interest. So after cleaning the brush out, we're going on to the next colour, which is pale blue. And this is going for the inside walls. So I'll pop some of that in the old airbrush. A little bit of thinner, more flow improver. And make sure that it's all right. And this is the part now where I've realised that you'll not be able to see anything of what I'm doing. So I try my best to get an angle so you can see, but it's difficult to show inside when I'm trying to paint something. But I'm doing my best here before realising that I really need to change the angle of the camera, which, there you go, that's what I do. And this is a little better, but not perfect. But the problem is I can't really get perfect on this. So just take it from me that I'm painting the inside of the walls. You can see the top parts of them, but not all of them. When I go around the edges, or when I get to the bottom where the walls meet the floor, I'm not bothered if I do overspray, because it's going to be using a different colour again on the floor, so that'll get covered up. And again, it'll be a case of, it doesn't matter if that overspray goes on the walls, because it will make it look a little bit dustier rather, not dirty. Because let's face it, it's the Middle East, there's a lot of sand in the Middle East. Now we have a better view. I decided to stop the video and just try and rearrange the camera setup. Again, it's still not perfect, but unfortunately it's the best I could do. As you can see, the walls are now near enough done, and there is some blue around the bottom of the walls on the actual floor, but as I say, that's going to get covered. And the magic disappearing bottle of flow improver. Dark earth next, and this is what's going to give it that dusty look on the inside. And we'll do this all over the floors, but predominantly around the edges. And as I say, some areas you'll be able to see easily enough, other areas you won't. Like there, you'll be able to see, not a problem. Unfortunately, the side nearest to you, you'll have difficulty seeing, because as I say, it's just the way the angle is, and I do apologise. You'll not be able to follow everything along here, but hey, this is one of my videos. You never tend to never be able to follow everything. But I'm trying my best to get better and actually think of what I'm doing rather than just doing it. I'm also going up the stairs with this as well, and along the bottom edge, the bottom of the outside walls, on the base of it. This will give a nice sandy effect to it. I didn't go over with the sand and glue. If Andy wants to do that later on, he can do. I have no problems with him making adjustments to it after I've done it. I gave them to him a couple of nights ago, and he liked them. He was quite impressed. So there we are. Just a few more to do now, and hopefully we can get them done fairly soon. And we're doing this dark earth on the roof as well, and I do believe if I forget to put it on that part outside that building, and I'll go back to that a bit later, but again, not too worried about it as it stands. Light green now. This is a lovely colour. It looks really vivid on camera for some reason. I don't know why, because it's not that vivid when you spray it. But as I say, it looks really vivid on here. But it's a really lovely colour. But then again, I do like green. You see what I mean about it looking vivid? It looks almost neon, but it's not. But don't worry, we are going to be dulling it down anyway. You're not going to see a lot of that green. I think this is where I noticed that I've not put the dark earth on there as well, but there we are. We're also going to put some of this on the walls, and as you may be able to notice, I'm not covering the red parts and all of the grey. I'm just putting little patches here and there of colour, just to make it look interesting, something that catches the eye. I know you don't see a lot of green in the deserts, the occasional oasis with the palm trees, and every now and again you'll find little patches, I suppose, of grasses, but this is a colour that's just going to be hidden, but it's going to be there and you'll be able to see something, but you'll not identify it as green. Back to dark earth. As I said, I realised I hadn't put it on that roof part, so I'm going to do that now, and just little patches here and there around the edges, make it look a little bit dusty, and you can see there now how the green just suddenly vanishes. Light grey, and this is where we had some fun. I managed to load up the airbrush with the light grey, get some of that on, and I'll start using it. And I'm using this like a dry brush. I'm just putting patches on the roof part there and the roof part here, and now actually using it as like a dry brush. I'm going from the top down, spraying from the, but we'll start having a little bit of issue in a second. You may notice after a while that we stop spraying, and I noticed this and I'm trying to work out what's going on, and then I realise we've lost pressure completely. It's all, the pump's overheated. But I forgot I had this little beauty. I bought it a few months ago and I've not used it properly yet. It's the battery operated airbrush. This is the second one I've had, I might point out. The first one was faulty, and this is the first time I've used its replacement. We had some fun with the first one. It basically exploded on me. The cap shot off. Well, the cap didn't actually shoot off, but I pressed the air and boomf, purple spray shot out all over the place because I was doing the big Cthulhu model, and it ended up all over the place. So I had to take it back, and I got this one. So I'm just trying this out now for the first time properly, and to be honest, look at that for coverage. It's brilliant. It doesn't seem as though there's much air coming out, but it's belting for doing this kind of thing. I would imagine it would be useless for doing detail work, but for quick and dirty base coats, I cannot fault this. This is an awesome piece of kit. Really, really impressed with it. I'm so glad I bought it. So I do recommend getting one. Hopefully you don't have the same issues I had. So we're just going to make do with this now from now on, and we'll be going over to brushes shortly as well. Yeah, as you say, thumbs up there. So we are bringing the brushes out now, and now it's on to more finer details, and we're starting off with mahogany, and this is going to be for all the areas that I want to be wood, and that includes the little roof hatch that you can't see there because I decided not to put it on camera. I'm trying my best, but every now and again, as I say, I'll miss something. I thought it was all covered, but obviously not. But basically all I'm doing on the roof hatch is this, just painting the wooden area brown. Simple as that. And I'm not doing a brilliant coverage on it either. I'm also going to do these little sticky out bits around the tops, and there's a lot of these to go through, and I really wish at some while I was editing this that I'd fast forwarded through it, made it even faster, but I didn't. But hopefully it's not too long for you. You'll have to put up with me waffling and trying to fill in time. I must admit though, doing these kind of things is very therapeutic. It's very calming on the mind. You can just lose yourself in what you're doing and just not think about anything else. And at the moment, the way I'm feeling, it's something that does help me. So I am enjoying getting back to doing these kind of things. It just allows me to take my mind off what's getting me down and bothering me. So yeah, I highly recommend anybody who is going through a little bit of a tough time, just get some paint out and try it. You don't have to be brilliant at it. Seriously, you don't. You just enjoy it. Even if all you do is scribble on a piece of paper and get some coloured pens and just colour. You know what you used to do when you were a kid? You just get a black Sharpie and just make squiggles all over it and then colour in the shapes. You know, it's a nice way of spending a little bit of time, and it calms you down. You can just switch your brain off, forget your worries, and just concentrate on doing something like that. Be creative. There is nothing wrong at all with just taking a little bit of time out of your day and just doing something that's a little bit creative. The alternative, you can just get a colouring book and just colour in. You know, there's plenty of adult colouring books, there's kids colouring books you can do. I mean, let's face it, ACDC, what's it called? ADC Art Attack, that was it. I couldn't think of the letters. I mean, he does the whole channel near enough doing things like that, but I mean, obviously he can draw as well, but you know, he does a lot of colouring book stuff, and you can always personalise it as well by doing backgrounds the way he does. Challenge yourself to doing it all in one particular colour with different shades of that colour. You know, there's plenty you can do just to be a little bit creative and take your mind off your worries. And art is a very good way of doing that. I highly recommend giving it a try. As I say, you don't have to be very good at it, you just need to have a go. Enjoy it. I know when you're first starting out you want it to be perfect, but it never is. But you just keep at it and enjoy it. Enjoy the process. Don't bother about the finished product, just enjoy the process. That's all it needs. If you don't like it when you finish, you can always throw it in the bin, do it again. Or if you're painting with acrylics, we can paint over it and do it again, you know. Yellow ochre next, and this is where we're going to be highlighting all the wood. Yeah, all that brown stuff that we've just done, this is where we're going to just make it a little bit brighter as though the sun's hitting it and giving it some little difference in tone. We're not going overboard, just putting a few little marks here and there just to make it pop out a little bit. Although you can see the hatch now, and that's all I did earlier, just colour the wooden parts in. Again, just put in a little bit of this colour over the top parts, that's it. One little stroke, possibly two. Doesn't take long. Anyway, you're going to see the finished article at the end of the video. I've done some photos of it, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've got something out of it, and I hope you take my advice with trying something creative just to take your mind off your worries. But until next time, as always, stay safe and take care. God bless, and bye for now.